us racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Well, after a 1-week hiatus, the holidays, lots of food, everybody should be back up to speed. We've worked it off here for the last 7 days and live here tonight for the midway point of the season. The 2025 VRX World Cup is coming to the biggest racetrack of the season, 2.66 miles. This is Talladega for the VRX World Cup. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, presented here live by Moser Racing, IMAX, Buck Kicker, and Superior Performance. We've got Connor Horn up in the booth and camera packs provided by Dougie Beard. Connor, this racetrack, it's a gambit. It is going to be a dice roll every single lap. There's big crashes, there's big action, and here tonight it should be no different.
I don't think it will be any different. It's going to be a tall task for these drivers to keep it clean. Really hard to keep these cars in one lane. You're going to see 2 and 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide if we get lucky or unlucky, depending on how that ends up. But it's going to be a tough race for track position. I think it's going to be really hard for drivers not starting at the front to get to the front without going through different fuel strategy, tire strategy, whatever we may see. You probably won't need tires the entire race, so you're going to be taking fuel only a majority of the time, especially with the lower fuel tank. No reason not to take at least, at the most, 2 tires, and definitely no tires for a lot of the drivers. 2.66 mile track, a lot of banking, a lot of speed, and very, very fast and very, very fun. Like I said, I think track position's, oddly enough, going to be pretty important tonight. I think it's going to be hard to get through the field.
Yeah, in this ARCA car, it's difficult to push. Did some practice races here a couple of days ago, and just touching on the wrong spot of the corner. It wasn't even about pushing in the wrong part of the bumper. It was just the wrong part of the racetrack would send you around. So these drivers are going to have to be mindful of that. I would expect a lot of patience here. And you take a look at the points. The points system right now, it's looking favorable for a handful of drivers, but there's a pretty sizable gap as you work your way down to Ed Fiedler in that 10th, 9th position. He's actually tied for 9th right now. But then you go back to Renee Haspin, Kelly Walton. The gap gets bigger and bigger, of course, but 94 points. If you're outside the top 10 right now, you need this to be the race to turn the season around. It's a good place to do it.
How about that gap from 11th to the tie for 18th, though? It's only 9 points separating those drivers, so that's pretty tight in the mid part of the points right there. But yeah, if you want a title push, you're going to have to start going right now after the season where anything can happen. And obviously, like we said, Brian Hennings, Philip Willis, those are 2 to beat right now. They've been the 2 best drivers all season to this halfway point. Dan Charles, Wade Palmer, Christian Key in the top 5. They've been pretty good. Julian Conde, Edward Fiedler. Some drivers have done good, but Hennings and Willis have done great. And if you want a shot at the title, you're going to have to keep up with those 2.
Well, we're going to bring the grid up on the screen, and on the top spot here tonight with a 54.655. Had a little bit of a technical issue there. Still working out the kinks there on the stream deck. But Brian Hennings, the money racer in the number 74, he will be on the top position. And, with this, it's one of those moments that, we never like the situation we're in. But when you're asked to find the words to say, you can't always come up with something, but for every awkward silence, you could always count on Kevin Mulcahy to break it. A loving father, a husband, a friend. All the words anyone can easily come up with. But most of all, missed. Tonight's grid is to celebrate all the good memories and times with our close friend, Kevin Mulcahy. And we're going to hide the grid here and take a lap around Talladega in the memory of Kevin Mulcahy. Here we go, live from Talladega Super Speedway. It's race number 6 of the season. Live on V-Speed. Number 1 is going to go to Brian Hennings in the number 74. And if you notice here tonight, everyone in an identical paint scheme, 99% of the field in this black and gold Mulcahy machine. Good luck finding out where everyone is down this back straightaway, but the most important part is you see on the left-hand side, Hennings on the top spot.
You'd think all but 2 or 3 drivers are in a chase with the yellow numbers, but everyone in the same paint scheme. Besides a handful, I don't believe that scheme is on one of the cars. Chase Rockford 71, Mike Howerton's still in his normal scheme. Other than that, it's almost like I rock. John Kokenberg also in his normal scheme. But everyone else rocking the Mulcahy scheme as Hennings leads just barely another lap in front of Jason Line. Pretty orderly 2x2 compared to what I was expecting to see. I was expecting to see more chaos at the beginning. We have lost 4 drivers out of the draft, but pretty organized at the front. The pushes aren't as aggressive yet, but that will change by the end.
Yeah, and you're talking about, less than 1/10 of a second every single lap. They're going to be side by side, jostling around for position. You saw the 71 drop back. Actually, that was another car. I think it was Mike Shivers. Someone drops back here. That's Mike Howerton. A little bit further back, it's 18th position for the 51. And we didn't go that far. We only went back 9 rows, and they're side by side for every single one of them.
Oh, and the bumps got a little aggressive there. John Hudson, there's a little bit of a stack up from the back of Brian Hennings to Jason Line, and it kind of got all the way back to Rockford. Almost caused a crash there, but everyone kept it straight. Just a big stack up. Hennings didn't want to lead the bottom line. He went up to the middle, that second lane, and the driver behind him, who was Jason Line, had a huge run behind him, and he did not lift. He pretty much bulldozed the back to give him a bump draft and almost caused a crash.
Now the outside working. With Loveridge on the inside, 72, 74, down the back straightaway. Getting a look here at this gold and black machine. Superior performance. Premier sponsor for the 2025 VRX World Cup. And Connor, we saw Daytona, we saw the action there in the closing laps. Unfortunately, we had that technical issue, but for a recap, it was a late race block that dictated the outcome. A driver that was outside the top 5 coming out of turn 4 ends up winning the race. That's not difficult to do here, but it is surprising when it happens. A driver that maybe wasn't even counted into the race, had lost the draft, maybe even got caught up in something on the white flag, ends up coming back. We could see the same here, and it could even be worse with the start-finish line past the tryover.
Yeah, start-finish line where it is, you just don't quite know what you're gonna get.
Wow.
You might get a crash at the front. Another bad push. That was 3rd in line. I think Dane Shivers, apologies. And someone gave a bad bump to Shane Loveridge, and it almost turned the 72 of Hennings around there. Brian Hennings has had 2 scares.
Go back up here and look at the contact, and that almost destroyed the entire inside line in the car in the background there. I believe that was the 19, maybe the 18 of Conde, and somebody on the inside there, Dan Charles. Got crazy. Jason Line leading his first lap of the day.
Big crash.
43 of Palmer is in it.
That happened
Just
at
as
the
we came
very
back.
that happened at the very front of the field, and I'm not quite sure why. But that bottom line completely stacked up, and it took out about 6 cars.
We're talking about the push here in this car. Sometimes it can surprise you. Do you know who Todd Gilliland is? I think everybody knows who that is.
I may or may not have heard of him, yes.
So, wow. That's
was...
what happened in that practice race. Todd Gilliland on the back bumper. We ran a couple different practice sessions, and I'd gone on the back bumper, gave me a push, and suddenly the car went sideways. That's exactly what happened there.
That seemed like something different, though. I don't know who was leading that bottom line, but all of a sudden that bottom line just stopped, and that's what I think caused this one. And the 43 got part of the worst of it. 51 through the grass. I'm not sure if Mike Howerton got too much damage, though. Let's just see in the bottom of the racetrack. I mean, that bottom line, it just stops. I mean, you can see the guy leading, whoever that was leading the bottom line, I think it might have been Jason Lyon, just kind of stopped, and no one could really react in time.
A lot of damaged race cars. Thankfully, a fast repair here in the session. So one fast repair here tonight. It's a lot to take away, though. Now you have to go into conservation mode.
Especially all those drivers who are going to have to waste. I wouldn't say waste because it keeps them in the race, but especially for this early in the race, it's a little bit of a waste to have to use a fast repair. Edgerton's going to use one. We might see the 51 use one. There was a lot of drivers who got damage out of that deal, and you could decide to save that fast repair and just repair what you can. So Shane Loveridge, in his case, I think he has no choice but to use the fast repair, him and the 71. But everyone else who got minor damage out of that might be able to get away without that. 13 as well will have to use that fast repair, but he's already got a lap down.
So looking down pit road, there is the scope of all of the black and gold machines, the gold splitters on the front end. Every one of these ARCA cars dressed up in the same uniform here tonight to get a look at it down pit road. Doug Helfer gonna be the leader after pitting in. Philip Willis, Benjamin Richards, Brian Hennings, and Jason Lyon, the top 5. We're going to take a quick break here on V-Speed. Don't go anywhere. More coverage continues of the 2025 VRX World Cup Series live on V-Speed. Connor Horn, Bradley Cooper, back with more in just a moment.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
welcome back here to our live event, VRX World Cup 2025. And it wouldn't surprise me if we were having some issues. But you know what? We're a little rusty here on V-Speed. It's been 14 days since I've done a live, if you can believe that. The holidays putting us kind of behind the 8 ball, and then big wreck again. Everybody's a little rusty.
They saved it. I couldn't tell who that was. That might have been Chase Rockford. He somehow saved that car.
That was instant to the inside wall. I thought for sure he was going to wreck that car. There's a checkup. He did get some damage from this.
He did hit the inside wall pretty good. It looked like another checkup gone wrong. I mean, he even had front end damage to show. He hit someone in the back pretty hard. And I don't know how he didn't completely wreck the thing, but he's definitely going to lose the draft after this.
Whatever the case may be here with the audio glitch, I apologize if it is a little bit behind. I'm trying to get things sorted out. This is a new one for me, so Connor, I'm going to try to see if I can figure out what we're going on about. And while that happens, we're going to take a look at Philip Willis leading this race here. He's got several wins this season already, but he's putting together a pretty phenomenal race at a track that anybody could find their way to victory lane. And if he could capitalize on this, this could be the one. This could be the race that puts him on top in points and lets him pull away.
And you're always going to get maybe some random people at the front, drivers you're not used to seeing at the front. But for the drivers who are really good at what they do, you're still going to see them at the front. That's why you've seen Brian Hennings lead this field, as you're seeing him second in the top line. That's why you've seen Philip Willis second in the bottom line. That's why these two are still up there, because they're just good at what they do. They're good at sim racing. Doesn't matter what type of racing it is, super speedway, short track, anything like that does not matter. The drivers who are great will find their way at the front no matter what track they're at. Someone on apron in the back. Looks like they kept it straight. John Hudson's taking the lead. We're going to see a lot of different leaders tonight, and I would not surprise me if we get a double-digit different leaders. And not surprise me that we're going 3 wide on lap 14. A little early for that, but we got a duo at the top. Christian Key, 5th in points, trying to make his way to the front. Shane Loveridge, who I believe probably took one of his faster pairs, or his only faster pair. He's also trying to get back to the front. That's a dangerous game to play when you might not have another faster pair. One wreck takes you out of it, so you got to be really careful what you're doing. Hennings leads. Hudson leads the bottom line, but he's now battling for second. Hennings to the apron. He shut the bottom off right there. Push from Jason Lyon.
It's Brian Hennings leading. Jumping up to the outside, wants to lead another lap.
Whoa.
And Jason Lyon going to give the push. Slows down that outside. It's a 10 car. Greg Spiker, who had the lead coming out of turn 4. We talked about that briefly there before that caution. But the 10 of Greg Spiker said he wants to get this victory. He wants redemption for what happened at Daytona. When you're leading those final miles in a long race, and it all falls apart at the last second. What a cut down there from Hennings. You can tell he is definitely seasoned at this racetrack.
Oh, those cut downs aren't going to last very long. I don't think they're going to work for all 50 laps, but they look fun. They're fun to do. You feel like Dale Jr. I've been there before.
If you like elevators.
Top to bottom, you see that elevator move at a lot of other tracks, especially at the super speedways when they're going blocking the first, second, third lane. You'll even block the 4th lane. I mean, you're going to see anyone in the lead in the last 5 to 10 laps trying to throw those blocks, but it only takes one driver to be late on the block to wreck about 20.
Yeah, and, leading by example, it's really easy to blend in with the field here tonight. So, maybe you get away with it if you're the 74, but everybody puts faith that you have that ability, and then suddenly it's not the 74 leading as we had a wiggle on the outside.
Oh, these drivers are all over the place. I don't like how this is looking. Philip Willis is in the middle trying to block Spiker. Christian Keys to the outside. Him and Loveridge are still working that third lane, but only the two of them have been up there. They haven't gotten help from any other driver. And one thing we don't really usually see when we're covering super speedways, you don't see a breakaway happen often unless you're in like the 87 cars. We're seeing Hennings, Lyon, Hudson, and Conde get away from that pack, but don't know how long that'll last. And Charles, look at the run he's going to get. He's going 5 miles an hour faster than those top four with the run he's got, pushed from Mike Chivers. Mike Chivers, I believe. I'll get it right consistently one of these weeks.
All right. It's just one of those old habits die hard, riding on board with Dan Charles in the 5th position. Big checkup on the inside. Wow.
And look at the run Willis has. I mean, we're going to see those checkups all race when that many drivers are running inside line. That's going to get that. Nope. Couple drivers swerving in the background, they kept it straight. That's going to give that second lane the advantage because you're usually going to be going full speed, full send, not lifting, no checkups in that second lane. So you're going to see more people get up there, but the more people get up there, you'll see more checkups, and then the bottom lane will dominate, and that's just how the super speedway racing works in this ARCA car. You'll get that third lane at some point, as long as we have enough cars near the end to have it.
We had a technical advisor. I guess that's what I'll go with. For Duncan, and Brian Duncan came in, let us know that we had some audio issues, so I haven't really tweaked or changed anything. I'm still at a loss for exactly what's happening. I feel like it's on Brian's end. I tried. I did what I could.
Put in the live comments below if there's something wrong. Was fine to me.
I'm hearing everything on my end. I'm looking at my audio meters. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me with all of the confusion I had.
As long as we have the picture on the screen, as far as I'm concerned, we're fine as long as the picture's on the screen for now.
Yeah. We
Willis
just set the criteria, you know? We set the criteria.
Bill Willis leading that top lane. I was thinking he was going to get to the bottom, but him and Greg Spiker have a pretty good run. He might want to bring Spiker in the 10 with him, but he could not get quite clear of that 74 Hennings, and he wants to lead that middle lane.
Look at the front end of Greg Spiker and the number 10 machine. The 12 of Jason Lyon up in the top 5 again. And Doug Helfer, who is leading there on that restart, he has fallen all the way back to 11th position, 97 to the outside wall.
Christian Key, 5th in points. That was Shane Loveridge, who got into the back of him and might have turned him. There's going to be no yellow for that either. And Shane Loveridge have already used his fast repair, so he is not in a good spot anymore.
Riding with Christian Key, and he has also used his fast repair. That's not a situation you want to be in. Just a simple tag with the wall, and you're going to set yourself probably 2 or 3 tenths off a lap time unless you have the draft.
Yeah, Christian Key's damage, I think he's probably going to be fine if he can get a yellow. His damage is seemingly cosmetically only on the left rear of the car, but Shane Loveridge's day is pretty much done.
It's quite a gap, though, for Christian Key. He's going to end up probably losing this. 71 machine going a lap down. Let's chase Rockford, who was caught up in that first caution.
Oh, man. They are swerving all over the place. When Philip Willis makes that move to the middle to block that second lane, it really throws that second lane all over the place, and you'll see them almost snaking down the straightaways like we're at Indianapolis for the 500. I mean, it is crazy, the blocks. And the blocks are only going to get more aggressive. This is nothing.
Pretty mild here. Halfway through the race in just a moment's time. 2.66 miles really isn't that big when you're going 185 plus. I just gotta say, Talladega, Daytona, those are really the highlights of the action. You don't get any closer to each other than this place right here. Maybe Martinsville. I mean, you can't really escape each other at Martinsville, but here at Talladega, as long as you stay in the draft, you've got a chance to go up and take the lead away. You're watching Brian Hennings on the outside from 3rd position. trying to do just that.
All these super speedways, it's kind of an odd thing. It's mostly in your control 100%, but it's also out of your control 100%. You don't really quite know how to explain it because you have the ability almost all the time to make the move to that second or third lane and go to the front and try your best and all that. But in reality, you're not in control because everyone's doing the same thing. You're not the only one in control and can get to the front. Everyone else trying to do the same thing. So it makes it really, really hard to try to separate yourselves. You can't separate yourselves because of the draft, so there's really not much you can do. It's kind of a funny thing to think about. You have all the control, but none of the control. That's just what super speedway racing is.
Move to the inside here from the 33, Philip Willis.
Looks like Mike Howardson's going to bring it to pit lane. He's had some good runs this season. It looks like he's blown that engine. I saw him in the second line, and it looks like he pushed a little too hard, so he's going to have to take a fast repair. He'll be going a lap down in a little while.
Greg Spiker up to the third position, top 5. You could pretty much throw a blanket over top of the entire top 12. Back here to Mike Shivers on the outside line, and then David Collins down on the bottom in 14th position. The Collinator, Frank Chavez in the 23. Seeing a breakaway from this field. 51 of Howerton down pit road. Howerton a lap down now.
Yeah, he was in that second line, blew his engine up, and just limped at the pit lane to get that fast repair. So back on track, but completely off sequence. Not what you want to be. Is that front pack has really split things up. You got Hennings on the third lane. You got Jason Lyon leading the bottom lane. Hennings tried to get down and block that run from Jason Lyon. He was too late.
So Jason Lyon going to come off a turn 4 with the lead, and a big push here from
spin.
Jeffrey Hunter, 64, who had the lead a moment ago. Tag with the wall, but Green's going to stay out.
Technically not a save, but I'd say he saved the race car. I mean, I thought he was going to slam that wall, and he's going to get away with no damage. I would have probably brought it in pit lane at that point. Why not? But he's going to continue on.
And this is actually a prime example of what I was talking about with the way this body works. And I think he drops down here behind the 3.
Yeah, he tries to get down, and I think that was Julian Conde maybe, and he just wasn't really quite clear enough to make that move. And you have to make that split-second move. If you get stuck in the middle, you're going to the very back of the line. He was kind of already pretty far back there, so I would have probably just kept it 3 wide in the middle, tried to hold that line. He tried to get to the bottom and save some positions. Oh, there's contact in the middle of the track, but 64 just couldn't quite make it work. But he did a good job holding on to it. As that one was John Hudson. He gave a little bit of a hip check to Renee Hasp.
And a drop, another elevator move. 13 trying to follow the 13. That's actually Renee Hasp in the 38, but trying to figure out who's in the 13 car here.
Dane Shivers.
Dane is a lap down.
Yeah, trying to get the lucky dog or get his lap back the old-fashioned way. There's a number of drivers in this pack a lap down. Actually, 2 of them only. Shivers, the 13, and Wade Palmer in the 43. We know Palmer definitely took his fast repair. 13 might have as well. So there, I believe, both in this lead pack trying to get a lap back, get the lucky dog. And also Anthony Edgerton's in this pack as well, but 2 laps down. This big checkup through the tri-oval.
Well, it's not very often that we have helmet cameras with our race control. Yeah, I think we do tonight. So I think this is a prime example.
I don't know about race control. Oh, no, he is race control. I thought he was in the car for a second. Using iRace control. I do race control for a league on Tuesday nights that just ended, and I do use that platform, but I only have 1 monitor, so it's really hard to use both.
More
when I have
impressed with
multiple
the helmet
monitors,
cam. Yeah.
the helmet cam is fun. That would be great when he runs a race, but I like iRace control is a very good software. I guess you can call it a software for adminning a race. I think it does a lot of things well. You can throw automatic cautions. You can close the pits with 2 to go if you're doing stages, for example, stuff like that. You can DM drivers. I mean, that is a very good service. It is paid for if you get the pro version, but there is a free version that's good as well. I like the setup. That's a good helmet cam.
Yeah, it is.
And he's got
Look
the
at the
Steam
Stream
Deck.
Deck.
That's what I've been looking for. That I need a yellow button. I'm always having to click to throw the yellow, and I'm late sometimes. I need that.
Well, he
That's a
just
good
witnessed there on the blimp camera how close they got. He's on standby. He had his finger ready.
Why do we even need to be here? Let's just let him stream on V-Speed.
Yeah. I'll
Oh,
tell
we
you
got
why.
pit stops. Now he's looking intently at the pit stops because about half the pack just came down, including Brian Hennings and Dave Shivers, who might have been deep on pit entry. Looks
think
like
he's
no
okay.
speeding. It's like everyone got away with it. Benjamin Richards, Condé, Spiker, Lyon, Jeffrey Hunter, and Brian Hennings. All of them come in the pit.
So Renee Haas going to stay out on the racetrack. What happened here?
Kenneth Blackburn spun on pit entry. Don't know if he hit anything. He already had front end damage. Actually, no, he did not have front end damage. He hit the inside wall. No yellow for that, though. It's going to be interesting on fuel strategy if drivers can make it without stopping again, as you could kind of see the camera pan towards Blackburn spinning on entry. So the rest of the field's going to come. Yeah, just too much rear brake, I guess.
Early downshift, maybe?
Oh, we got another spin live, and it's Philip Willis who just spun live. There's a big crash. Everyone pretty much crashed entering pit lane that time, and that brings out the caution. That's actually going to end up being a break for these guys who spun and wrecked entering pit lane. Especially Philip Willis, second in points. I mean, that's a big break to get that yellow. Let's see what happened here. I saw Willis spin, and then everyone else pretty much followed suit. Same exact thing. Willis did the same exact thing Kenneth Blackburn did, and then the other wreck was almost separate.
Take a look at it here. A lockup, and then, yeah, the 96, the 08.
The 08 looks like kind of, that was not Philip Willis in the 08. That was Ken Couch, who was kind of going in there way too deep. I think maybe followed the 33 in, and the 33 didn't make it. Then he was like, oh no, this ain't good.
There was that echo again, Brian.
We got it.
I think I know what he's talking about now. That's pit stops at its finest at Talladega. And that puts Frank Chavez in a good situation. Ben Charles, Doug Helfer, who had came in and topped off with fuel, they could have went another additional 3 or 4 laps compared to the rest of this field. So now they have the opportunity to come in, top off with fuel. However, a lot of these cars had cycled their pit stops. So when Frank Chavez, Ben, and Dan Charles, all these guys come in, they're going to lose position. They did not put the field a lap down. You had Kenneth Blackburn in 19th position, 1 lap down, but not the drivers behind this 23 car. He has no choice but to come in. And I think right here on lap 30, that's pretty much going to guarantee these guys to the end of the race. So you're going to see a lot of cars stay out. 5 of Shivers is going to stay out, and he'll be the leader. You have a few that followed in that are off sequence.
It's going to be close on fuel, but I think everyone will make it. Just looking at Brian Hennings' laps, since he was in the lead pack for most of that. We went green again on lap number 10, and everyone pit roughly on lap 7 or lap 8. So, for the most part, everyone went about 19 laps on fuel. We're going to go green, I believe, with 18 laps to go. So you'd think everyone's able to make it. I'd be worried about if someone leads the main pack the entire run, that's probably the only way I'm concerned about drivers not making it to the end. And also, we do have 2 green-white checkers, so you got to make sure you have something for those, because you don't want to have to pit and give up your track position right before a 2-lap shootout. So I would not be surprised to see some drivers top off, just try to save a little bit of something, or just save a little bit of something for those 2 green-white checkers we may or may not get.
We'll be back with more coverage here on V-Speed under caution for the second time here tonight. More coverage of the VRX World Cup in just a moment.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Welcome back here to VRX World Cup 2025. Mike Shivers, the leader, the number 5 car, taking over the top spot after the cycle of pit stops. We had the start of what would have been green flag pit stops, but that cycle got cut short as there was a caution with the 08, the 96, the 33, and now it puts everyone at the inside looked very close to having another one.
Yeah, the pushes were getting close to 15 to go. The pushes are going to get more aggressive. You're going to see probably more crashing at some point. Mike Shivers, you got new drivers at the front. Mike Shivers has been in the lead all race. Benjamin Richards, Renee Haas, these are drivers that are leading the pack that have not been leading the pack. the entire race. Jeffrey Hunter, Kelly Walton, a few other drivers that are not up there. But the guys who have been at the front, like Jason Lyon, Brian Hennings, Greg Spiker, and a few others,
Richards.
they have a big stack up there. But there's a lot more ground to make up for a lot of drivers who were leading this race.
And that was a 3 that dropped all the way down to the apron. John Hudson able to hold on to it. Renee Hasp gets back around. Kelly Walton gonna push on by, and Benjamin Richards not gonna lead this lap. We just mentioned his name, 3-4 seconds ago. Richards had taken the lead, and next thing you know, the 38 of Hasp takes it back.
How it works, if you get the lead, you better hope you have a little bit of help behind you. If that driver wants to lead themselves and they have to push, you're going to be falling back pretty quickly. That's how quickly it can happen. That's what we're going to see when we get to the final lap in the final 2.66 miles.
How quickly it happens here at Talladega. 56 car, third position. Just like that, 2 spots lost. Kelly Walton gets around, gives a push to the 38 to get him to the lead. But Renee Hasp is not out of the water. He has Doug Helfer back to the front. Mike Shivers, who stayed out on the pit stop there, and a few cars came down to get some damage repaired, maybe a handful of things going wrong at Talladega. It's no surprise that we have cars that have burned up their pass repair.
Yeah, I think Christian Key is in this pack. He was able to pretty much repair his car, but he's in the back of the pack kind of fighting. We're almost seeing about 6 or 8 cars kind of losing this main pack right now, as there's a pretty big split between the two. Is not really much organization at bottom lane right now, and that's what worries me. If they stay that disorganized, it could cause a few issues.
Working his way back towards the front, though. We're riding on board with Jason Lyon, working really hard here on the inside line. 12 car started in second, was on the front row. With this cycle of pit stops, was deeper in the field, and I believe restarted outside the top 10. Now up to 8th. So a lot of work to do, though, and you're in a traffic jam here. What's the move?
I guess in Anthony Edgerton's case, he's going to get out of the way because he's still, I believe, at least 1 lap down. But if you're in a traffic jam, you need to find some help. You're not going to get to the front completely on your own. You're going to need a push from someone else at some point, and you're not going to get to the front just waiting for, kind of that conveyor belt to come towards you and for you to be the first car at the front of the conveyor belt. I mean, you have to make a move probably to that 3rd lane and hope you have help. You need to find someone else who's going to be aggressive trying to get to that 3rd lane and maybe get to the front. Crash! Philip Willis is in it. Greg Spiker's in it, and it's another big crash.
Looking at drivers that haven't used their fast repair, though, a lot of those drivers were in this top 10.
I don't think Willis had used his, but he's got a lot of rear end damage if he didn't. That's second in points with big damage. Christian Key also in another crash.
Or is crab walking?
Yeah. If he doesn't have that fast repair, he's gonna... usually that's good for super speedway setups, though. But if he doesn't have his fast repair, he's gonna be in trouble. Couldn't quite see. Started second. They started an outside line. They kind of stack up there, and Willis gets turned by Spiker. And then that's where the damage. He got hit right in the left rear wheel by one of the cars who went by. Spiker got a lot of damage out of it. They just kind of stack up. He's not really... And they're kind of all over the place, so it naturally stacks up in front of Willis. And then right there, Spiker actually, you can kind of see his car jolt forward. He got a tap from someone behind him. Obviously, he was trying to check up and not do that. The Philip Willis just couldn't do it in time. Someone else was pushing him.
12 of Jason Lyon was behind him.
Oh, yeah, right there. That was a big move. Jason Lyon's been aggressive tonight, and he probably didn't know it was checking up as bad as it was. So it's another one that Lyon's partially involved in. We'll see a lot of drivers pitting for damage repair this time. Wade Palmer, we know he used his fast repair. He's got more damage to repair. Anthony Edgerton, who was 1 lap down. He looks like he's going to stay 1 lap down, not get that free pass. and a number of other drivers probably topping off so they don't have to be scared of running out on a green-white checkered, because that was still a question mark.
There's a look there at the superior performance machines. 99 of Kevin Mulcahy. And the 099. We still don't know who's going to win this race, though, Connor. It's one of those dice rolls. If you are the leader at the end of these super speedways, it never works out.
Yeah, I just don't know if there's a good place to be. I mean, you can't guarantee you're going to be in the best spot being second in line, because you're going to have probably 2 other lines to worry about. I honestly think all you can do is plan to be the leader at the white flag, and then just hope you can figure out how to make it around first on the checkered flag. But I think you got to put yourself in the lead just so you're up there. You can't bet on being second or third in line and timing it that way. It could be one of, for now, 21 drivers. Mike Howardson just got the lucky dog. He blew up, had to take a fast repair under green, and he's finally gotten that lucky dog. So he could still definitely be in contention.
51 of Mike Howerton coming back out on the racetrack now. Oh, still getting a little bit of that damage repaired. On the way for the 51. Still a lot left to be done, though. What do you say we pull up a driver here? Kelly Walton in the 818. I think it's the driver that comes to mind. If we can find the 818. Do my best.
Gotta make sure I know what room's which. There's a lot of rooms.
There is a lot of rooms.
A bold. Let's see. Oh my gosh, there are rooms all over the place.
Party channel, got it.
I do not have. Yeah, that's
Kelly Walton. There it is. I got Kelly Walton in the 818 just before we double back up. You're going to be riding in the second position, but Kelly, nothing's guaranteed here at Talladega.
No, you're right about that, and I usually have a magnet on me for collision.
Well, magnet aside, it's time to find that rabbit's foot. Where is the good luck charm? What line are you going to choose to get around this 38? It's 10 to go when we go back green.
Hoping I can get pushed to the front and hold that line, but the outside line moves good once they get rolling, so I don't know. We got 10 laps to figure that one out.
I paraphrase, but I believe it was the mustard and mayonnaise is the term that you want to keep it between for the closing laps of this event. And Kelly, this is the first time we've had you up in the broadcast booth, but go ahead and shout them out if you got them.
Well, I'm enjoying being in VRX. This is the first league race I've actually been in, so I'm enjoying it, and I like everybody in here.
Appreciate you coming up and talking to us. You were up there in the party room, so we're going to get you back up there, communicate with all of the teammates, and good luck.
All right, appreciate it.
Kelly Walton in the 818. Yes, there are a lot of channels in here, Connor. It's you can get lost in this Discord really quickly. There's so many different events and so many different little tabs, but what I like to look for is the colors next to everything. Sometimes that helps me. Sometimes. Not on the racetrack tonight. Everything is black and gold.
Definitely helped a little bit, and honestly, I was trying to figure out if I had the ability to pull people in and out of channels. I think I do. I just wasn't figuring it out, but that was a good interview from Kelly, and now the real work starts. I mean, we are only going to have 10 laps on this run, so we're going to see so many more aggressive moves and probably so many more blocks.
It's the tail end of Talladega with Renee Hasp, and the green flag is back out. Race recap on top of your screen. 3 cautions, 17 lead changes, and it's only going to go up from there.
Some drivers coming out of the pits of damage. Teresa, Spiker, Christian Key. You'll see if they play a factor.
There. You see that big jump there, Connor? 38 car got way too far ahead, and Richards is going to have to pick up the slack.
And that might have been, I don't know by design or what, but it just seemed like usually you don't see that. You usually go on green, but Haas kind of caught everyone napping, and that's not what you want at Talladega. That'll work at literally every other track, but you do not want to have that happen on the final restart. Looks like Haas is going to get away with it, though, able to still lead that bottom line, but Kelly Walton got enough of a run to get the lead and clear down to the bottom.
So Haas going to give the push here. The 56 wasn't able to keep that 38 car as they almost have contact across the tri-oval. Here comes Mike Shivers to the outside, 2x2 from second back to 19th.
Pushed by Jeffrey Hunter. It's another name that we really haven't seen at the front until that yellow during green flag pit stops. Third in line on that second lane, Brian Hennings, still trying to find his way back to the front.
And that side-by-side will continue. Working your way to the front, you've only got 8 laps to do it when we cross the stripe. Lap 43 coming up. Mike Shivers gets a little loose. Jeffrey Hunter wiggles the 5 car, the 15, with a shove. You got Howerton back on the lead lap, and the 51 is lurking back here. He's in 17th. It's a long road to the front.
Someone's going to have to get in that third lane and try it. Even if it's only 2 cars, the tandem can work in these ARCA cars from what I've seen with Christian Key earlier, but the pushing, it can go sideways really quick, and you can put someone in the wall and accident very easily. So I don't expect no one to try it by the time we get to the white flag. Someone's going to have to try it at some point.
Hard to get that outside line going when the cars behind you are blinking. Howerton actually loses ground. 818 of Walton gonna lead lap 43 by a long shot. Nobody stepping out.
We're not even seeing, I'm talking about a third lane. We don't even really have a second lane. I mean, we got the top 6 cars on the inside lane clear. Then Brian Hennings in that third lane. He's just losing ground big time as all of a sudden we've gotten single filed out. Pretty much.
A lot of movement back here around the 10th position. Brian Hennings is going to jump to the outside. There was Ken Couch in the 08. And again, like you said, Connor, the outside is not developed at all. And you look at kind of this storm that's brewing. We don't see it this disorganized in the closing laps. Usually everybody has an idea of where they want to go, but if you're this far back, it's going to be even more difficult. 08 pushes Hunter and the 15.
You just need to build a run on this second lane, and if you get a big enough run, you're going to see drivers from that bottom lane come up and block it to try to get that run. Doug Helper just did it from 4th. He gets in front of Jeffrey Hunter, so now those two have to generate that run and push each other. Now here comes Benjamin Richards doing the same thing, but when you block a little late, you can kind of lose that momentum because everyone has to swerve out of the way, and it kind of stunted the momentum of that top side, but they still have a good push. Now Renee Haas from 2nd is going to get that lead away, and the 818 has no push, and oh, it's almost a crash. How did Haas save it twice?
Still working.
Oh my gosh. They're not done yet. They're stacking up behind, but they kept it straight. How in the world did they get away with that?
Closing laps here at Talladega. 5 laps to go. When we cross the line, you're going to see it on the top of your screen. Will it finish under green? Remember those lead changes? We're about to add another one here with Renee Hasp on the outside by 0.04 of a second. There's another one.
Benjamin Richards going to get clear. If I was Richards, I'd get to the inside now, but he's committed to that middle line. I don't like how much ground Renee Hasp is leaving to the bottom line. I think they've got to be pinching to the bottom more, but they just aren't doing it. The top line, all of a sudden, now that's the line that's rolling.
That's the third lane now.
And the bottom line hasn't gotten more disorganized. They've just pretty much gotten beat, and they're not pushing hard enough down there. And like you said, oh, there it is, crash.
In the middle of the field, and it's the big one here at Talladega.
Philip Willis is in it again. And Brian Hennings, I believe, got through it again. Mike Howerton couldn't avoid this one. Doug Helfer's in it. Kokenberg. Wade Palmer in another crash. Julian Conde's crab walking. That was probably the biggest crash. Mike Chivers, a lot of damage. Yeah, this one's going to take some drivers out. Couldn't quite see where it started. Maybe the middle line. Oh, yeah, right there. Doug Helfer just got too big of a push from Maybe the 08 of Ken Couch. Couldn't quite see who that was. And it just pretty much, we got 3 wide, and I thought that 3 wide, that top lane might cause it. Ends up being the middle lane, and it was Ken Couch. Couch had such a big run, it seemed. I mean,
he had a lot of momentum. He's pulling up to the 64. Wait, it's just a checkup.
Even if he does lift, Conde's Dan Charles is there. I think even if Ken Couch does lift, that's probably a crash. It's just too much momentum to try to push someone, and that was bound to happen.
Where do you take it though, Connor? If you're the 08, can you take this to the outside? I don't think there's enough room.
You want to go 4 wide, be my guess, but if it doesn't work, I mean, you're going to be looking pretty bad. I mean, how out of control everyone's been, all the weaving, I don't think was anywhere for him to go. All he could hope for was to hit him and not turn him, or lift and hope he didn't get turned. He was in a no-win situation.
We'll watch it right here across the line. Into 3.
08 almost pulled a Ryan Priest and did a wheelie and almost went over. You can see all these cars in it. 18, 51, 33, second in points right there is in it. A lot of cars gonna not be able to continue after that one.
Howerton probably felt like he was gonna make it through.
Just ran out of room. It's funny how you can run out of room avoiding a wreck here, but especially going into turn 3, that pavement near the bottom turns into grass really quickly. Makes it really hard to avoid incidents. If it happened out of 2, you have the whole backstretch. You just didn't have enough room to get through. And we got a lot of drivers on pit road and a lot of new drivers at the front. Hasp, Richards, Jeffrey Hunter, the top 3. Looks like Anthony Edgerton, who was 2 laps down. He's back on the lead lap. Maybe he'll fight for this win somehow. Brian Hennings up the 5th. His title rival for the time being has not had a good race.
No, he's been involved in everything. We're talking about the 33, Philip Willis, 11th position right now. We'll see some drivers come off of pit road. And you said Willis was involved in that. Looks like minimal damage here for the 33 car. Still has an opportunity to salvage the day. But we're talking about the fast repairs. A lot of drivers elected to take them just now. So we have about half this field with a fast repair used now.
Honestly stunned Willis has no damage. He hit the back of Dan Charles pretty hard and then got spun by John Kokenberg. But you're right. All he did really was get spun and continue going. So he actually got away with one big time there, and he did not have to pit. So he's definitely going to still be in contention for a good finish here. But like you said, compared to his main title rival, Hennings, he's pretty far back. With Hennings up in the 5th position, he's back in 11th.
Yeah, and that can disappear. We're in green-white checkered territory. Hennings is going to be towards the front. You know there's going to be a lot of dicey moves in that spot. 33 of Philip Willis back in 11th. We saw it at Daytona where the drivers outside the top 10 ended up benefiting for the most part versus the guys that were up front. And really all it takes is a late race block and you end up setting yourself back 7 or 8 positions. Those guys that are outside the top 10 licking their chops. They kind of smell that blood in the water.
It's going to be interesting to see. We should have pretty much everyone good on fuel, but there is at least a few drivers at the front that haven't pit since around lap 30. So if we get those 2 green-white checkers, maybe it'll be close. I think everyone will be fine, but something that might be in the back of some other drivers' minds, like Jeffrey Hunter, for example, is we'll get our first attempt at a green-white checker. We only have 2, not 3, so this will be an important restart for especially Renee Hasp. They've got to time that restart better, as in probably go on green instead. I mean, they got away with staying at the front of the line after, getting 3 to 4 tenths of a second out ahead down the backstretch. That won't work again.
No, everybody's going to be full send. We're not lifting. If there's a lane, we're catching up to you. We're going to make a move left or right. Barring that yellow line, that's really the only limitation, and the wall. So if there's a hole, they're going to take it. Fuel could be a factor here as well for some of these drivers. Got a couple that are out there on the racetrack for about 23 laps when we go back green. So if we do get another green-white checkered, you're seeing Renee Haas and Jeffrey Hunter and a couple others that are 21 laps on the stint. You have to go back quite a few laps. It could be one of those you run out of fuel if the race gets extended.
Yeah, honestly, I thought there'd be more fuel, or less fuel for a lot of drivers. But like we mentioned, that one green flag run of stops we got, most drivers only went 19 to 20 laps, and that was fully green. And we've had a lot of yellows, 2 to 3 yellows in this span. So I would think these drivers are good, but it takes a lot of fuel saving to save one lap here. So you just never quite know.
Getting set to come back green for the closing laps at Talladega. 3, now 2 to go. Crossing the stripe. VRX World Cup midway point in the season. Talladega. Anybody could get it. And another big jump. That's not what you wanted there.
The best thing for Hasp, though, is if they stay side by side. If Jeffrey Hunter could get clear Benjamin Richards, he'd be in a better spot to make that move, but he just can't do anything, so it's going to work again somehow.
Big run here for Richards. He's going to take the white flag. He is very clear. As the A18 of Walton on the outside line. They are very organized on the outside for the time being. Walton bobbles the 10 of Greg Spiker, who had the chance at Daytona. Car to the inside, that's Hasp. Great save, but he's going to jump back up the racetrack in the tri-oval. 4 wide.
Hunter, they're going to get to the white flag somehow. Hunter just a bad push, and it might cost the 38 the win. White flag's out. Look at John Kokenberg in the third lane. Where'd he come from?
John Kokenberg in the 98 has been quiet all night long.
Big block, big crash. There they go.
White flag presented by Moser Racing. It's 1 to go.
Willis just crashed again with Doug Helfer.
Still taking each other out down the backstretch.
Jeffrey Hunter just got almost turned by Brian Hennings. Hennings is up the second out of all this. Fred Chavez is third. Here comes John Hudson to the top line.
It's going to be a big shove out of turn 4.
Hudson's got the run. Here we go.
Here comes Hudson. He doesn't have the push from the 10 of Spiker. Spiker's going to drop. Look at that move from the 10 of Spiker across the line. Jeffrey Hunter is going to win mid-race, mid-season. Greg Spiker second, John Hudson third. A lot of moves there at the end of this one.
I can't believe Jeffrey Hunter got away with that. I thought Spiker had the run, but the 10 car got just enough of a push from John Hudson, and then Hudson actually hit the 10, stunted his momentum a little bit, and that's all Jeffrey Hunter needed to get away with the checkered flag. He only led the 1 lap, and it's all he needed. What a finish. That was crazy.
Talladega at its finest. 21 lead changes. I know it says 0 cautions, but there were more than 0 here tonight. Ultimately coming down to the very end with Jeffrey Hunter becoming victorious.
What a crazy last lap. I thought Benjamin Richards in the perfect spot, just threw a block that was not going to work, and I thought it was going to open a door for Hennings, but Brian Hennings just couldn't get the push, couldn't get the run. Hunter was able to defend pretty much throughout the last half of that lap.
Let's take it back on an instant replay and find this final lap.
All the wrecking is pretty much done. I thought Hennings was going to go for it right here, and it almost looked like he chose not to. He also kind of turned Hunter, so he actually lifts out of it. That kind of gave John Hudson the run he needed, and I think Hennings was thinking he was going to get a push from the 23, and that side drop just killed any push he was going to have. And at this point, there's not much Hennings can do. He has no push, and the run comes from the 3, And then great block from the 15 right there, got up right in front of Hudson. Hudson couldn't do anything, and then Hudson gave him a push and then hit the 10, and that's all that Jeffrey Hunter needed.
We need to go back there to Benjamin Richards, who comes across the line in 14th position, did bring this car back around the racetrack, but here's a look at the outside line.
He gets to the middle right here, and the 818, Kelly Walton keeps going up, and Richards keeps wanting to block, and the block's just not there. I think had he stayed on the bottom, he would have been fine, but he got a little too over-aggressive trying to block, because, wow, there were some big hits there to Kokenberg, and another one right there to the 66, but just a little too aggressive on the blocking there. I think Benjamin Richards will want that one back.
And then the moves through 3 and 4.
Philip Willis ended up crashing. There was a separate crash. That was kind of at the front. Willis had already crashed at that point. That's a big swing in the points, Brian, for Brian Hennings. He comes away with a top 5. The 33 ends up 16th, so those two will separate. There's the first move. Hunter just gave a bad push to Rene Haas, pretty much took the 38 out of contention, which I'm sure the 38's not going to be happy about, but that happens when you go in bump drafting. That's bound to happen.
For Rene Haas, the race ends up. After all these crashes, on the 8, there's Haas, there's the 12 shooting up through the middle.
Oh, Doug Helfer just turned Willis a little bit, and then there's nowhere for 12, Jason Lyon. The 77 gets involved. Big hit to the inside wall. Edgerton came back from 2 laps down just to get wrecked out of 2, so that's a shame for his race.
And for Jason Lyon's 13th place, he got involved in that. But Rene Haas in the number 38 machine, he's going to end up coming across 9th. But here's Jeffrey Hunter one more time across the line, and there's the move to the outside to block the 3 of John Hudson, and Greg Spiker going to get a top 3 podium finish. We're going to have post-race interviews in just a moment. Connor, there's a lot happening, a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, a lot happening. That was, like I said, great block by Jeffrey Hunter. How about Dan Charles? He made a move 3 wide for the 4th position and got it away from Hennings and Conde. So great finish for the 96 as well.
Post-race interviews with your top 3. We're going to take a quick break while we round up all of that information. You are watching the VRX World Cup live on V-Speed. More coverage will continue in just a moment.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Welcome back to our coverage post-race at Talladega. Halfway point in the season for the 2025 VRX World Cup. Welcome back, everybody, as we went into overtime. 50 laps wasn't enough. We extended the race to 52 laps here tonight with several cautions and about 1 million lead changes. 4 cautions, 21 lead changes to get that exact number. Jeffrey Hunter victorious here tonight. Final results up on your screen with Greg Spiker finding his way to a podium finish. He was up top in the top 5 for a lot of tonight. John Hudson rounding out your top 3. We'll get a word with those drivers in just a moment. It's Dan Charles and Brian Hennings. Brian Hennings, the money racer here at the super speedways, getting a top 5. He will extend his points lead considerably. Philip Willis all the way down in 16th position. Julian Conde will finish in 6th spot. Then you have Frank Chavez in 7th position. David Collins, Renee Hasp, who, I mean, let's be honest, brought his car back a lot. He was pushed down the racetrack. It was a weird push here in this ARCA car. He'll finish in 9th. And Mike Shivers, who stayed out on the racetrack a couple times here tonight, was on a different sequence. Thought it might pay off. He will round out your top 10.
Doug Helfer, I believe we saw him caught up in a crash with the 33, ends up 11th. Ken Couch was at the front a little bit, ends up 12th. Jason Lyon was at the front a lot, also involved in a lot of incidents, 13th at the 12 car. Benjamin Richards leading into turn 1, the block goes wrong, he ends up 14th. Anthony Edgington, he was 2 laps down majority of the race, got to the lead lap just to get wrecked down the backstretch. 15th for him. Philip Willis, who will probably stay second in the points, but a big hit to his title hopes, lost a lot of points to Hennings tonight, finishing 16th. Edward Fiedler didn't see much of the 66 tonight, 17th for him. Kelly Walton at the front late, took that block from Benjamin Richards, got the worst end of it, 18th for them. John Kokenberg a lap down, 19th, along with Wade Palmer in 20th, and Wade Palmer might have had the worst luck tonight. He was in pretty much every crash.
And from there on, it's 1 or more laps down. Teresa Spiker finishing in 21st. Then you have Chase Rockford for 22nd position. Then Shane Loveridge in 23rd in the 72. That'll be 2 laps down. Kenneth Blackburn will finish in 24th and 3 laps down. Mike Howerton, he got back on the lead lap, ends up 6 laps down, got caught up in that big wreck there with about 10 to go. He'll finish in 25th. It's Dane Shivers going to finish in 26th position. My timing and scoring in relation to that a little bit off there. So if I get any names wrong, I apologize. But we have Mike Howerton, Christian Key, Jared Conley in 28th position, and 2 spots there in memory of Kevin Mulcahy with a race control out on the racetrack here tonight with Connor Gordon. And man, why am I drawing a blank right now? It's Tony Richards. Come on. I got this. I know what I'm doing. I promise.
He'll be telling you about that one.
Yep. Benjamin's going to let me know, but actually, I'm more afraid of Tony than Ben, if we're being honest. So I guess that's going to be okay. So it's time to go down to victory lane. Your first place finisher, a new winner this season. And Connor Horn has caught up with the driver of the number 15. It is going to be Jeffrey Hunter in the victory lane. Connor Horn's got
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, we do have Jeffrey. Sorry for pulling out your conversation, Jeffrey, but I think you'll take it for a race-winning interview. Started 9th, finished 1st, in a green-white checker to get the win. That doesn't tell the whole story. You were, I believe, either 2nd or 3rd coming to the white flag, and then Benjamin Richards opened the bottom up. They wreck. You get the lead. At that point, from the exit 2 to the checkered flag, what's going through your mind on how to win this race?
Yeah, I gotta apologize to. I think that was Benji I was pushing at the end there. I didn't lift. I was just trying to get us both by the guys on the outside lane, and everything seemed pretty steady. Everything was nice and smooth, and then I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, there he went. That's just how fast things happen in this track with these cars. Everything seems fine, and next thing you know, there he goes. But anyway, once I got the lead, I felt really bad. Then once I got the lead, I was just thinking, everybody comes near me, I'm blocking. I just needed the block. I wanted to win,
Yeah,
But
you
first and
definitely. Oh,
foremost,
sorry.
I want to say God bless to Kevin Mulcahy and his family, and all our prayers and thoughts go out to them.
Definitely all thoughts, prayers going to the Mulcahy family. Obviously, a special race to win for you, especially in the scheme that everyone's rocking. You're the one who gets the victory, so big deal
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that one. Obviously, I think the person who you were pushing, you were referencing Renee Hasp, I believe. But
Oh, okay. Yeah.
just take me through the entire race, I guess. We went over the final lap, the blocks you made, but just to get in that position, just out of nowhere, you kind of cycled to the front through the caution during the green flag pit stops. And how crazy was this race from start to finish, really?
It was crazy. When we first started, everybody was on their best behavior, and there wasn't hardly any move to do anything unless you wanted to jump outside in the third lane, way outside. But it was too early for that, so I just hung out and just waited for opportunities, basically. And then finally at the end there, me and the 12, Jason Lyon, were running, I don't know, 10th, 12th or something. And we're in the outside lane. Everybody kept going high. And Jason asked me if he wanted to shoot the middle. And I said, yeah, man, let's go for it. And I think that was the biggest move for us right there. That's what got me up to the front. And once we did that, I pretty much stayed in the top 5 after that. And I think that was probably the move that did it for us, man, for me. But that was sketchy pushing Jason through the middle there, trying to get the front. By pushing right to the front, it was a good job. It was a lot of fun. I was pretty geeked.
And definitely a lot of fun to watch you get through there and able to make those blocks. I thought it was going to go bad at some point, but you got to the line. You only led the one lap, but it's all that matters. It's the only
So I
lap that
needed.
counted tonight, so you could do burnouts however you want. Obviously, already shouted out and honored the Mulcahy family, getting the victory in the scheme in the Ford. Anyone else you want to thank or shout out?
Yes, sir. My sister and her husband, they're big fans. They watch this show every Thursday. So that's my sister Sherry and her husband Jim. Thanks for watching, you guys. It's a lot of fun racing for you guys. I'm glad you were excited as I was. She was texting me after the race, telling me how excited she was. So
I've had that before. It's fun. Well, Jeffrey, there were about 30 Mulcahy tribute schemes, but you are the one who goes to victory lane, so congratulations on that. Thanks for talking to us. First one of the season, and we will see you in a week's time.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leave the my name is Jeff. That's what caught me off guard there. That's that's a meme that will forever live on the internet. Uh it's immortalized, and it's really cool to see all of these guys come up here and every week have somebody new to talk to, especially at these super speedways. But somebody that we haven't, I don't think, ever brought into the broadcast booth is going to be our second place finisher. It's going to be Greg Spiker in the number 10. You almost did it, Greg. You said you were going to win to redeem yourself from Daytona, and you put this car through the tri-oval. We're talking about 700ths of a second here to finish this thing off.
It was a wonderful race. I'll tell you, I can only contribute the decisions I made and the moves that I made through this race to two angels riding with me. My mother and Kevin never made it to the interview booth till now.
Well, there you have it. That's I
It's an
can't top
awesome
that, Greg.
feeling. It's an awesome feeling, and I'll tell you, it's something where you just keep. There was several moves in this race where the one point where I was on the bottom line behind Phil, and we were running hard, and there was a checkup, and for some reason I felt like I just had to go outside, and I went outside just in time and went all the way to the outside and got behind Anthony and made some moves there, but then that big wreck happened, so it saved me from being in that big wreck. So that was one move. That was the first angel talking to me, and then the last bit there to dive down underneath and try to make a run for it. John went high, and I went low, and we tried to get around Jeff, but we gave it a heck of a run.
Well, I can tell you which angels we're talking to. In my mind, I think I know. The avoidance of that wreck. That's 2 weeks ago at Pocono, and that's your mother talking to you. Looking out for you. And then there's Kevin there's Kevin out there shouting. What would Kevin do? Okay.
Kevin told me to dive low.
Yeah, that's the power move, and you know what? Disregard. He's an equal opportunity offender. It was always whatever I can do to make your life a little uncomfortable, and that's what you did across that tri-oval, and it almost worked.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all you do. Like to shout out to my wife for all the support she gives me and all the things that we're going through right now.
Hey man, enjoy that big house. I know it's gonna kind of stick with you for at least. You know what? I have nothing to say to you. You had to turn on your pool heater, Greg. Is that what you said?
Yep. We
Yeah,
had
okay.
to turn on the pool heater. It was
Yeah,
a
I
little
don't
too
feel
cold.
bad for you all. It's 18 degrees now, so I don't want to talk to you about that.
Well, I'm glad we were in Alabama at Talladega tonight then.
There you go. And Lincoln, Alabama, second place finish for Greg Spiker, and I know this one.
One more thing,
means a lot.
Bradley, just
Yep.
want to mention that's where Teresa and I met, was Alabama. And it's the first race that I ever took her to. My mother, my father, and my son were at this race many years ago. I can't remember how many years ago it was. So it's good to be finishing up in the top 3 on this one.
Every right here for a top 3 finish. Greg Spiker, we appreciate you coming up here and talking to us, and we will see you next week in Charlotte.
Thank you.
Second place here for Greg Spiker. One more driver to interview, and it's going to be John Hudson in the number 3. Talked to you quite a bit here, John. You were the pusher, man. I mean, we went back to the practice races. The 3 car kept me up front for a lot of it, and we go back to Daytona and how much success this 3 car has had in the real world. But this particular moment for you was, I need to get to the outside, and then suddenly there's a roadblock.
Yeah, there was a few of those.
But let's go back to the closing laps. We extend this race. There's a late race caution. You're able to get yourself in a good scenario. But rewinding to all of the events, you got so much on your plate. You had to battle through and avoid the big wrecks here at Talladega, notorious for that. But you're one of the few drivers in this top 10 that didn't have to burn a fast repair. It seems like you're pretty experienced at racing at plate tracks.
Yeah, I've done quite a bit of this plate track racing, and of course, it's my favorite. It's not everybody's favorite, but like Dale Earnhardt, I seem to be able to see the air, and you can just feel how to get around people, and not everybody can do that. But again, it's by chance, because sometimes you feel the air and it's not really the right air.
Yeah, sometimes it's a temperate climate turns cold really quickly. We were just talking to Greg about that a moment ago, about the seasons change very, very fast here at Talladega. 1 minute you're warming up to the inside line, and the next thing you know, everyone checks up and it gets really cold, and you move to the outside and you get left out to dry, and you think it's all over. You get spun out, but sometimes you just come back even better than you were before. This race, it really is kind of a dice roll.
Yeah, well, like I've been trying to tell Nitro, he's a great driver, but he doesn't have the patience. When you go back, you can't just go, oh, I got to get forward, because you're not going to go there. You're going to wreck. You just got to look for openings and take them. And you got to have a lot of patience, and you got to position yourself, because there's parking lot after parking lot. And if you can position yourself just right, you can work your way up through there and not have a problem. But it's not always that easy either.
I felt like instinctually you were excellent here tonight. You put yourself in a great position for a podium finish, and the top 3 here for John Hudson in the 3 car. Go ahead and
Thank
shout
you
him
very
out.
much. Yeah, first I got to shout out to my wife, because she lets me do this crazy stuff. And of course, Kevin McKay, he was a good friend, and I'm glad I could put the Performance Power Chevrolet into third place. And also VRX. I've been with them quite a while, and you guys, Bradley and Connor, what would we do without you? You guys are just, this race is professional because you guys make it that way. And that's basically everyone I need to shout out to that I can remember. Oh, I have one buddy, Thomas Merman, that he lives down in Florida. He watches us every week. So, hey, Tom.
Shout out to Tom and Doc Hudson in the top 3. We appreciate you coming up here and talking to us. And we look forward to 7 days from now when we're going to go race in North Carolina.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I can't wait.
There you have it. 1.5 miles coming up here for John Hudson and a turnaround on this season. We'll see you in 7 days.
Yep. See you. Thank you, guys.
So, Connor, it's one of those midway points, and you start to see one particular driver pull away, but it's not over. It's not over by a long shot. This is Talladega at its finest, and I think with this one, you turned around a lot of point seasons. Some of these guys might be back into the hunt.
Just have to wait and see once we get to Charlotte. Going to be a completely different race than what we had tonight. Not too much longer, though. Only 70 laps at Charlotte. Will probably fly by if we get some green flag running. And title fight still on. Only a 14-point gap from Brian Hennings to Philip Willis. And how about Dan Charles? He had a great result tonight. He outdid Brian Hennings in finishing order tonight. And he's only 24 points back. Wade Palmer somehow 4th in points after the night he had. And very tight from 4th on back. It's only about 10 points from 4th to 10th, who is Jeffrey Hunter, who just got his first win of the season. So a lot of racing to go. We're at the halfway point. We have a lot of good races, a lot of good tracks left to get to. And you can't forget about the season finale at Daytona. That's still going to loom large if the points lead is still a battle by the time we get there. But still got to get through Charlotte first.
There you go. Charlotte, Bristol, Indianapolis, and that'll take us into the new year in the middle of the country. And then it's on to Kansas, Homestead, and Daytona. Going to visit Daytona for the tail end of the season. We're going to visit that. It's the only racetrack we'll hit 2 times here in VRX World Cup Series action. We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And one last time here for Kevin Mulcahy and all the things there. The Angels riding on the shoulders of Greg Spiker for his 2nd place finish, and our winner here tonight, Jeffrey Hunter. It was a victorious moment for the number 15. It was another great moment here on V-Speed for me and my co-commentator, Connor Horn. Camera packs provided by Dougie Beard. That's going to do it for us. From Lincoln, Alabama, it's another great race for the VRX World Cup. We hope you can join us at 9:30 p.m. at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's a long season. The prize is on the line. We're closing it up here at V-Speed. Stay tracking, everybody.